Using a radial arm saw. So, a radial arm saw is called a radial arm saw because you have a saw that is on an arm that can rotate radial, kind of like a circle, like radians, angles, whatever. And so it can be used like a miter saw to make mitered cuts or angled cuts, but it can also be used to rip wood. Now, that's more advanced and way more dangerous. We don't rip wood with the radial arm saw in my class, but we do use this for making, well, you can go halfway through a piece of wood. You can also do a cross cut. You can do a mitered cut. So let's get introduced to the key components of a radial arm saw. So let's see. Let's start with a height adjustment. So this crank here clockwise tightens as I spin it clockwise. You'll see the blade starts to raise ever so slightly. If you want to execute a mitered cut, you need to raise the blade. Let's see if I can show you. I don't know if you can see that. Oh, hello. You want to raise the blade so it's out of the table. You want to visually check that it's out of the table. Now that you've got it raised out of the table, in order to change, it's fun with one hand. In order to change the angle, you're going to have to do a few things. Number one is hold it outward. It's going to want to pull in. There's a cable that retracts it. As you hold it out, you need to pull this knob. It's one right here with my touch it with my thumb. So I pull it out, pull the knob, and now I can rotate the arm. It helps me. It locks in a 45-degree angle. Then I can just release. Oh, but it hasn't been set up with this fence. So I'm not actually going to do a mitered cut here. Pull it out, knob. Bonus. If you have a weird angle, there is a lever right there. Now, pull that all the way. You go clockwise, tighten it all the way. It has now locked it so I cannot twist it back and forth. I'm going to set it back to a perpendicular. Okay, so that's how to change the angle. To execute a cut, once again, just a cross cut, just straight through the piece of wood, you are going to get your eye level down with your safety glasses, and you are going to ensure that the blade, sing my angel of music. Okay, you want to ensure the blade is going beneath the surface of the table. Now, this is expendable. This countertop is going to get cut. You don't want to go super deep. You really only need to go like just under the surface to cut through your entire piece of wood. Now, if I only wanted to cut halfway, there's just really one more thing to check for here. Let's see. I can raise the blade and pull it and compare it to the side of my workpiece. Okay, so that's a really handy feature with a cross cut here. You can go halfway through. But anyway, for this video, we're just going to go all the way through the plank. So I'm going to use this flat thing that I push the wood on is called a fence. And the fence is there to make sure that when the teeth bite into this, it doesn't get knocked forward. The blade rotates this way. Now, kind of like a wheel, if it's spinning like this, it's going to want to come at me. So when you have a grip on the handle and you're pulling it, you need to be conscious, you need to have concentration, and you need to control the speed with which it comes through the piece of wood. Now, I'm going to yeah! I got to look at that. Okay, so I've set the depth of my blade. I have my workpiece flat on the fence, no gaps. I'm pushing down, I'm pushing in, and I'm keeping my fingers 4 inches away from the blade. There's a guard here. There is a guard right here that will hit your fingers if you are way too close. Way too close. That's 2 inches away. You want to be at least 4 inches, and you want to be pushing on that fence. When you cut, you just want to get through the piece of wood. So here, just an example. If I'm cutting, I'm cutting, I'm cutting. You see the teeth? At this point, I will have reached all the way through the wood. If I were to cut and I pull it all the way back, the excess, the extra wood that gets cut off, is going to fall towards the blade. And what happens is then the blade's going to come back and punch it. It's going to be like a hockey puck, and it's going to fling. That's bad news. So what you want to do, height is set, flat on the fence. You're just going to pull until it's through, and then you're going to gently return it back. All right, so I'm going to do a cross cut. Cross cut means against the grain. I turn it on. Turn it on. Wait for full speed. I'm through. Turn it off. And never push the excess with your fingers. You can use your workpiece and just sawdust. Guide it to the right. Keep your fingers away from dangerous spinning blades. Additionally, there is a vacuum attached to this machine in our lab. You want that turned on so you don't get dust like I just did. And now at least I guess I'm getting more fiber in my diet. All right, those are the basics of a radial arm saw.